They say the night shift changes a person. You spend enough hours alone under buzzing lights, and the silence starts talking back. Most people think nothing truly strange ever happens in places like this. But I've learned that the most ordinary places can hold the darkest things. What I'm about to tell you isn't a story I like remembering. It's something that stayed with me for years. The smell, the sound, the way he looked. I've tried to tell myself it wasn't real, that I was tired, that it was just another hallucination born from caffeine and exhaustion. But I know what I saw, and I can still hear that voice, asking for one single gallon. I've never been the kind of person who believes in ghosts. I've worked night shifts long enough to know most scary stories are just the imagination of tired people who've had too much caffeine and not enough sleep. But what happened at the gas station on Route 41, I can't explain, and I wish to God I'd never seen it. I work the night shift at a small rundown gas station that sits on the edge of a highway barely anyone uses anymore. The place is depressing even in daylight, but at night, it feels dead. Half the lights flicker like dying fireflies. The bathroom looks like a crime scene, and the hum of the old coolers is the only thing that keeps me company. After midnight, it's just me, the buzzing of the fluorescent bulbs, and the occasional coyote howling somewhere out in the desert. Truckers come by before 1 a.m. to grab coffee. Locals stop for cigarettes. But once the clock hits 2, the whole world seems to hold its breath. It's peaceful in a lonely kind of way. That was before he started showing up. It was exactly 2:03 a.m. the first time I saw him. The chime above the door rang, and I looked up from my phone expecting the usual, maybe a lost traveler or a trucker looking for caffeine. But there were no headlights in the lot, no sound of an engine, just a man standing in the doorway. He was soaked in the harsh white light, thin-hunched, like he'd been walking for miles. His jeans were dark and dirty, his hoodie stained at the cuffs with mud and something darker. He smelled faintly of gasoline. He didn't say a word as he shuffled toward the counter, his eyes dull and unfocused. "Hey man, you all right?" I asked. No response. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a crumpled 20 and set it on the counter. "1 gallon," he muttered, voice dry as paper. I rang him up, gave him his change, and watched as he walked out to the pumps. There was an old beat-up jerry can sitting by pump 3. He picked it up, filled it, and disappeared into the darkness beyond the lot. No car, no flashlight, just gone. I told myself maybe his car broke down nearby, but even then, something about him didn't feel right. The next night, at exactly 2:03, the chime rang again. And it was him. Same hoodie, same walk, same smell of gas and dirt. He laid down another crumpled 20. 1 gallon, he whispered. Nothing else. I tried small talk, asked if he got his car running, but he just stared at me until I gave him the change. Then, like before, he filled that same jerry can and wandered off toward the tree line. He came back again, and again, every single night at exactly 2 in the morning. Always 1 gallon, always cash, always the same slow walk toward the woods. By the 5th night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. No one could walk that far every night. There were no houses, no road lights, no reason to go that way. But I saw him disappear, swallowed by the dark, and each time he never looked back. A week later, one of the regular truckers, Frank, stopped for coffee. While stirring sugar, he asked, "You still get that weird guy around too?" I froze. "You've seen him?" Frank nodded. "Yeah, Saw him walking out there a few nights back. No car. Thought maybe he broke down, but when I drove past again, there wasn't anything on the road. Creepy bastard, huh? Another night, an older man came in, weathered face denim jacket. He watched the stranger walk out into the dark with his full can and said quietly, "You still see him here, huh? After all this time." When I asked what he meant, the old man frowned. "Been coming here a long while, that one. Looks just like he did when I was your age." Then he paid for his soda and left, leaving me cold all over. I couldn't shake it. So when the store went quiet again, I opened the digital sales log. Every night at 2-something a.m., the same entry. 1 gallon. Cash. I scrolled back months, then years. Then when the digital logs ran out, I dug up the old paper ones from the back office. The earliest record, October 19th, 1997. 1 gallon. Cash. I sat there staring at the yellowed page, the pen mark faded but legible, and felt my stomach drop. Whoever or whatever he was, he'd been coming here for almost 30 years. I couldn't keep it to myself. So I called Jerry, the guy who worked this same shift before me. He sounded half asleep when he answered. "Yeah, I know who you mean," he said before I even finished describing the guy. "Shows up every night at 2, buys a gallon, heads for the woods. Doesn't matter the weather or if the power's out, he always comes." Did you ever ask why I asked? Once he said, didn't answer. I stopped trying. We call him the 2 a.m. man, part of the night shift tradition, I guess. He yawned. "Word of advice, kid. Don't follow him. Just let him do his thing." Then he hung up. I wish I'd listened, but curiosity's a hell of a drug. That next night I waited, watched the clock tick past 1:50. At 2:03 the door chimed, and there he was, same as always. He handed me his 20, whispered 1 gallon, and walked outside. This time, I didn't just watch from behind the glass. I grabbed my flashlight and followed, staying far enough back that he wouldn't see me. The further I went, the quieter it got. No wind, no crickets, just my own heartbeat and the crunch of gravel under my shoes. The smell of gasoline grew stronger, thick sour, clinging to the air. After what felt like 10 minutes of walking, the trees opened up into a clearing. And that's when I saw it. At the center of the clearing sat a car, or what was left of one. The body was melted and black rusted through like a corpse. Old gas cans were scattered around it, some crushed and empty, others, newer, half full. And in the driver's seat, a skeleton, its charred fingers still wrapped around the wheel seat belt, fused across its chest. The skull tilted toward me, as if it had been watching for years. The man knelt beside the wreck, unscrewing the gas cap. He started pouring from the can, but the fuel just leaked through the rusted holes, soaking the ground. He didn't stop. He kept pouring, voice trembling. "It's never enough," he muttered. "Why won't it start? I just need to get home." I stood frozen, the stench of gas burning my throat. He clawed at the dirt, trying to scoop the spilled fuel back into the tank, mumbling faster and faster. "Please, just 1 more gallon. 1 more, and I can leave." Then he stopped. His body went still, hands hovering over the ground. Slowly his head turned toward me. His eyes were yellowed, bloodshot and glassy, but they locked onto mine with horrifying clarity. "Do you know why it won't start?" he rasped. I couldn't answer. He tilted his head, lips twitching. I put the fuel in. Every night. But it never starts. It never lets me leave. He reached into his hoodie, pulled out a crumpled 20, and held it out. 1 gallon. He whispered again, then louder. 1 gallon. He lunged forward, face twisted with rage and desperation. I stumbled backward, tripping over a root, as he screamed, 1 gallon, and I can go home. I ran. Branches whipped my face, the ground slick with spilled fuel. Behind me, I heard him shouting his voice, breaking, echoing through the trees. I just need 1 more gallon. I didn't look back. I burst through the tree line, sprinted across the lot, and slammed the gas station door shut. I locked it, chest heaving, the world spinning. For hours I stood there, staring out at the dark highway, waiting for him to appear again. He never did. The next morning, I texted my manager. I quit. No notice, no explanation. I packed up and left town before the sun went down. A week later, I was on the highway, heading somewhere, anywhere else. Out of curiosity, or maybe guilt, I slowed as I passed the old gas station. The sign still flickered. A new guy worked the counter, scrolling his phone, bored out of his mind. And standing right there at the register was him. Same hoodie, same slumped shoulders. Laying a crumpled 20 on the counter. 1 gallon, he said. The new clerk didn't even look up. I watched as he walked out toward the pumps, the jerry can swinging at his side. He turned toward the woods, the same woods I swore I'd never see again, and disappeared into the darkness. He never looked back. He never does. That was years ago. Sometimes when I'm driving late at night, I pass by old gas stations, and for a moment, I swear I see him again. Just a figure by the pumps, head low jerry can, in hand, waiting for something that will never come. I never found out who he was. Maybe no one ever will, but every time the clock hits 2 in the morning, I can't help but glance at the door and listen for that chime. Because some people never stop coming back. If you're hearing this and you ever find yourself on a lonely stretch of highway at night, keep driving. Don't stop for anyone. And whatever you do, don't sell them a gallon of gas.